I rise to speak, Honourable Deputy Speaker, with utter disappointment about this government's policy on accountability. Honourable Foreign Minister just spoke a short while ago, and in his speech, it was a very brief. He very briefly mentioned about accountability. Very brief, only about a minute. All he had to say was that there will be a domestic mechanism that will look into gross violations of human rights. Now, this is precisely the problem, Honourable Deputy Speaker. The state, whoever that is in power, the state always protects the state. Now, I would like to quote something from Honourable former President Ranil Wickremesinghe's recent Al Jazeera speech. Now, I don't understand why he is defending the previous government. Honourable Namal Rajapaksa is here. His father was the defence minister. His father was the president. Now, Honourable Ranil Wickremesinghe, who sat in the opposition at that time, who seemed to be a champion of human rights, has gone on Al Jazeera and defended the government that he himself was opposed to. This is precisely the problem in this country. The state will always protect itself. And now this government is no different. This government also is trying to protect itself, the state. Why I say that is, the former president has said, however, he refuted claims. This is about the hospitals being bombed. Wickremesinghe acknowledged that aid has been blocked to war victims and that some hospitals has been bombed. However, he refuted claims that such bombings were part of a systematic strategy, stating there had been occasions where the Air Force had bombed hospitals and action was taken against some, but on a large scale, this thing, I wouldn't say that. Now, this is his response to Al Jazeera's statement on hospitals being bombed. But Honourable Deputy Speaker, I have an article here from the Human Rights Watch. This article goes on to say, a witness, patients, medical, let me quote this article, patients, medical staff, aid workers and other witnesses have provided Human Rights Watch with information about at least 30 attacks on permanent and makeshift hospitals in combat areas since December 2008. One of the deadliest took place on May 2nd when artillery shell struck Mullivaikal Hospital in the government declared no-fire zone, killing 68 persons and wounding 87. Now I'll table this article because in the interest of time, let me read another paragraph of it. This is something that a aid worker who was there at the Valayan Madam Hospital in the no-fire zone on April 2nd. This is his statement. I was in the hospital. Right after 12:30 p.m., I noticed a Sri Lankan military drone conducting reconnaissance above the hospital. The people in the hospital suspected that an attack was imminent, so they lay down on the ground. Shortly thereafter, we heard a loud explosion in the air, followed by several small explosions on the ground. One of the explosions took place only a couple of meters from me. One of the doctors who was lying just next to me was killed by a shrapnel piece that hit him in the head. 4 or 5 people were killed and more than 30 were wounded in the attack. Now this goes on to say that the number of hospitals that were attacked. A medical worker told Human Rights Watch that when Pudumatalan Hospital came under heavy shelling around midnight on April 20th, he immediately sought cover in a bunker. He described what he saw after he left the shelter early in the morning. Now this is what he saw. The roof of the building was destroyed and tiles had fallen into the room. There were 8 dead bodies in Ward 5 and 5 dead bodies in the admission ward. Now, Honourable Deputy Speaker, I'll table this document. Now there is clear evidence that hospitals were bombed during the last stages of the war. There is clear evidence. In Mullivaikal, it was there. I have more articles that I can table from witnesses. These have been recorded. These have been published. Right? Now, I'll get to that later, but these have been published. Right? That there was a big red cross put on the hospital so that the army can see that that's a hospital. A civilian who later went into the army controlled area has confirmed that from 1 kilometer away that they could see the red cross, rather the red cross flag, that to say it was a hospital. It was bombed. But the President Ranil Wickremesinghe, who wasn't even responsible for that act, is going on Al Jazeera and defending his previous president, the person who's accused of it. Right? This is the problem in this country. The state will always defend itself. And Honourable Vijitha Herath, the foreign minister, and his government is no different. At least the people of the North and the East never voted for the Rajapaksas because they knew that they will never get justice under their government, which is why they voted for you. The entire northern province voted for you. Is this how you repay their faith? The faith that they put in the government, is this how you repay them? Shame on this government. The minister went to Geneva. The minister only spoke about whatever mechanisms that were already in place. He spoke about a domestic mechanism. The Tamil people have rejected any domestic mechanism because 16 years later, there has not been a single case that you have solved. Now, very recently, not very recently, 2 days ago, you tabled the Batalanda Commission's report. Now, I wish the minister, the speaker was in this house while I speak, to see if he would be as compassionate when I speak about the Tamil people and the Tamil people who were killed and the atrocities against the Tamil people, as compassionate as he was on the Batalanda Commission. We saw him being so compassionate. Very good. We are also compassionate. The Batalanda Commission being tabled is good. You investigate them. Or you take action. But the problem is, all these reports that are generally tabled, we never see any action. The Paranagama Commission was tabled. The Udalagama Commission was tabled. What action has this government, not this government, the previous government taken? This government has had enough time. President has been president for 6 months. If his position was to take action on these things, if it was to investigate, he would have started it by now. Nothing. So again, what we are going to see is that Tamil people will be denied justice in this country. If the former president is defending his nemesis on foreign media, what faith can we have in this particular government? And the minister has given us nothing into his today's speech to even have an ounce of faith that this government will do justice by the Tamil people. Now let me move on to another matter. Now about torture. Because the Batalanda Commission is about torture. Now, Honorable Deputy Speaker, let me bring to your attention a report that JDS has published of 219 torture sites that existed in this country during the war. Now we are speaking about Batalanda Commission. I am all for justice being served on the accused or the perpetrators. But 219 torture sites in Sri Lanka, right? Civil torture sites. So when are we going to investigate all the atrocities that happen in these torture sites? These are very recent ones. Batalanda is from 89. These are from 2009, 2008, even 2010, 2011. When are you going to investigate these? There is an article that's published on the Hindu. Sri Lankan Tamil men accuse government of torture and rape. Now this is in 2017. Their number of witnesses have come forward and given their statements about how they were tortured, how they were beaten up with plastic poles that were filled with sand, how they were burnt with cigarettes, about the gun site camp in Trincomalee, about the Joseph camp in Vaunia. You know, the Udalagama Commission, very clearly about the ACF case and about the Trinco case, Trinco 5, Trinco 11 case, they said how the state is responsible. What action have you all taken? So when it comes to the Tamil people, all these commissions, all that you all don't want to talk about. Only about the Batalanda Commission, it has been tabled. I don't see any action being taken against it. මේ Batalanda වාර්තා පිළිබඳවත් මේක මේ සභාගත කිරීම තුලින් මට කිසිම විශ්වාසයක් නැහැ ඒකේ ඉන්න වැඩිකරුවන්ටත් දඬුවම් දෙයි කියලා. මොකද මම දන්න විදිහට JVP එකේ හිටපු දැන් ඉන්න නායකයෝ ඔක්කොම අවුරුදු ඒ දවස්වල අවුරුදු 18යි 19යි 20යි 88 89 බට්ලන්ද කොමිසම හරහා JVP එකේ කරපු ඝාතන පිළිබඳවත් දැන් ලිස්ට් එනවා එළියට. ඒවත් දැන් පරීක්ෂණ කරනකොට JVP එකේ ඉන්න ගොඩක් කට්ටිය කැමති වුණෙත් නැහැ මේක සභාගත කරනවට. ඒක නිසා මේක හරහා මෙතනින් හැර කිසිම දෙයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ සභාගත වීම පමණයි. බටලන්ද කොමිසමත් ඔච්චරයි වෙන්නේ මම අද කිව්වගේ කැට තියලා කිව්වා කියලා හිතා ගන්න. මේ කොමිසම ටේබල් කරේ මේ කොමිසම ටේබල් මේ රිපෝට් එක ටේබල් කරේ නැත්නම් Frontline Socialist Party කුමාර් ගුණරත්න අන්ත මොකද්ද කියන්නේ පෙරටුගාමි පක්ෂය මේ JVP එක තව කෑලි 10කට කඩනවා. ඒ බයට මේක ටේබල් කරේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ බටලන්ද කොමිසමේ මෙතනින් හැර කිසිම දෙයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. කතානායකතුමා ඊයේ මම දැක්ක සංවේදී වුණා. අපිත් සංවේදී මේ වගේ දේවල් වලට හැම දෙයකම සංවේදී වෙනවා නම් හොඳයි. So there's a lot more to be said about torture. about how people were tortured in this country, but let me move on to another important topic, which is rape. Now, you know, very recently there was somebody who was raped in Anuradhapura. We condemn that. We are against violence against women. We condemn that. Those accused should be punished. But let's talk about the Tamil women who were raped and killed. Let's talk about them as well. இந்த நாட்டிலே தமிழ் பெண்கள், ஆயிரக்கணக்கான தமிழ் பெண்கள் பாலியல் துஷ்பிரயோகம் செய்யப்பட்டு கொல்லப்பட்டனர். அனுராதபுரத்திலே அந்த பாலியல் தொந்தரவுக்கு உட்படுத்தப்பட்ட பெண்ணுக்கு நீதி வேணுமென்றதிலே எந்த மாற்று கருத்தும் இல்லை. ஆனால் ஏன் இந்த அரசாங்கமும் சரி, இந்த நாட்டிலே மக்களும் சரி, எத்தனையோ ஆயிரக்கணக்கான தமிழ் பெண்கள் பாதுகாப்பு படையினரால் பாலியல் தொந்தரவுக்கு இல்லாட்டி பாலியல் வன்முறைக்கு ஈடுபடுத்தப்பட்ட எத்தனையோ பேர் இருக்கிறார்கள். இவர்களுக்கு எதிராக எந்த நடவடிக்கையும் எடுக்கிறதுக்கு ஏன் இந்த நாட்டில் இருக்கும் மக்கள் இல்லாட்டி இந்த அரசாங்கம் கொந்தளிக்கவில்லை? இனவாதம் இல்லை என்று சொல்லும் இந்த அரசாங்கம் தான் மிக மோசமான இனவாதிகள். கடந்த காலத்தில் இருந்த அரசாங்கங்கள் தங்களை இனவாதிகளாகவே அடையாளப்படுத்திக் கொண்டு தங்களுடைய செயல்பாடுகளை முன்னெடுத்தார்கள். ஆனால் இந்த அரசாங்கம் இனவாதம் இல்லை, இனவாதம் இல்லை, இனவாதம் இல்லை என்று சொல்றார்கள். ஆனால் முழுக்க முழுக்க இனவாதத்தில் ஈடுபடுறார்கள். எப்படி என்று சொன்னால், இந்த நாட்டிலே தமிழ் மக்களுக்கு கிடைக்க வேண்டிய நிரந்தரமான அரசியல் தீர்வை தருவதற்கு மறுக்கிறார்கள். இந்த நாட்டிலே பொறுப்பு கூறல் விடயத்திலே கௌரவ அமைச்சருடைய உரையிலே ஒரு வார்த்தை கூட தமிழ் மக்களுடைய சார்பிலே சொல்லப்படவில்லை. அவருடைய நிலப்பாடை அவர் சொல்லியிருக்கிறார். அண்மையிலே அனுராதபுரத்திலே அந்த நடந்த சம்பவத்தை நாங்கள் வன்மையாக கண்டிக்கிறோம். ஆனால் ஆயிரக்கணக்கான தமிழ் பெண்கள் கொல்லப்பட்டனர், கற்பழித்து பாலியல் வன்முறைக்கு ஈடுபடுத்தப்பட்டு கொல்லப்பட்டனர். அதிலே ஒரே ஒரு உதாரணமாக சொன்னால் இசைப்பிரியா கொல்லப்பட்டது. இசைப்பிரியா உயிரோடு இருந்ததுக்கான ஆதாரங்கள் எத்தனையோ இருக்கின்றது. இசைப்பிரியா உயிரோடு இருக்கிற ஆதாரங்கள் இருந்தது. அதனை தொடர்ந்து இசைப்பிரியாவுடைய காய்களை பின்னால கட்டப்பட்டு அரகுர உடுப்புடன் ஒரு துணியுடன் இருந்த இசைப்பிரியாவை பிறகு ஒரு உடுப்பும் இல்லாமல் இருக்கிறதாக காணொலிகள் வெளியே வந்தது. அப்ப இந்த விடயத்தை பற்றி இசைப்பிரியா ஒரு பெண் இல்லையா? இசைப்பிரியாக்கு இந்த நாட்டிலே நீதி தேவையில்லையா? இதிலே let me read this article about Isaipriya. Isaipriya is sitting in a swamp. She is only partly clothed. She looks dazed and confused. There's no clue as to how on earth she got there and why she is all alone. Some speculate that she'd been trying to escape the bloody final showdown. She's helped to her feet and looks completely uninjured. This is an important observation because she was not to remain for so long. The soldiers think she's the Tamil rebel leader's daughter. She's not, she says. They find a length of white cloth to wrap around her. It's the same cloth that shrouds her in a photograph Channel 4 news later obtained from a Sri Lankan soldier. In his photograph dated later the same day, 18th May, Isaipriya is dead. Her hands are tied behind her back. Right? There's also now a long jagged cut across her face. That grim footage comprises of the part of the notorious executive video which shows shooting dead. You don't need much of an imagination to figure out what had happened. Right? Now, you know, this Isaipriya, it's very clear that Isaipriya was alive. And she was well and alive. Later, her hands are bound behind her back and she's dead. And very clearly, it shows that she wasn't playing Scrabble. Clearly the people who had her in her captivity didn't play Scrabble with her, they played something else with her. Why is the government not ready to even acknowledge these accusations? These are all accusations. If you have the courage, investigate them. The good governance government, at least when they co-sponsored a resolution, there was at least some discussion about a hybrid mechanism where the victim community will have some trust in the process. But there is nothing from this government. There's a lot more. This is Isaipriya, just one great example that I gave you, because you could start from there. Now, in August 2013, a woman from Punarin was raped and reported led for dead by two men wearing khaki pants and green shirts. After treatment at the Kilnochi hospital, military personnel escorted her to the local camp and provided with her dry rations. In 2010, a 22-year-old woman from Viswamadu was gang raped by 4 military personnel. Now, why I say this is because the minister in charge of public security said that an army deserter was accused. Right? There have been so many accusations against army deserters and the violent sprees that they've been going on, shootings, killings. That's what the minister said. So if today, 16 years later, If army deserters are accused of rape in broad daylight, or at least in a hospital where a doctor is being raped, imagine the amount of gross violations that they would have committed during the last stages of war, when there was no media coverage, then there was no international observers, when there was no outsiders. Imagine. So our community, we are only asking you to investigate them. If you're not guilty, investigate them. Why are you shying away from an inquiry? Because the reason why you are shying away from inquiry is the state always protects the state. That's your first interest. So the NPP government, Honorable Foreign Minister, also has failed to address this concern. You all are betraying the Tamil people, the trust that the people of the north and the east put on you, except for Batiklo. Batiklo people didn't trust you, and they'll never trust you.